everybody. Welcome to Virtual Hoop Dreams episode 4. I'm here with my good friend, Swaggy Piolino, once again. And he is also here to introduce our special guest.
Yes, once again, happy to be here. We have a great show for you guys, but I have a special friend from the Republic of Brazil who is an adamant supporter of NBA Live and basketball in general. I am greatly appreciative of his content. I'm greatly appreciative of his energy, and I am greatly appreciative of his input. And it's none other than Sylvio Ortiz, aka NBA Live BR, in the building. We finally got an opportunity to meet. I am honored to be here with you, my brother. How are you doing today?
Hey man, what's up? Thanks. I love the introduction. First of all, I want to apologize for my English. I don't want to get too excited because if I get too excited, the words are going to come out of my mouth just crazy. So I'm going to try to take it easy and be calm. And because like I told you guys before this, we started this. When I started with the NBA Live BR, the guys that I look up to was the Swaggy P, was Rock, Jeff Cortinas, was Prime, and everybody, and even Dabrowski, and I looked those guys like, man, those guys are really passionate about this game, and I feel the same here in Brazil, and I don't know many people here in Brazil who feels the same. So you guys were the guys that I look up to. So I'm very honored to be here, man. And finally, because me and Swaggy, we talk a lot. I remember the day Swaggy called me on Twitter, and it was a big secret by the time. I don't know if I can talk about this now. It's been a while. And he told me, BR, you're gonna be happy about what's coming on. I think it was NBA Live 18. He gave me a heads up, and he was talking about the Brazilian courts, the real court in NBA Live. So that was awesome. I remember that day. I was like, oh my God, what can he possibly be talking about? And it was a real court. So thanks, man. I'm really glad to be here. And you guys feel free to cut me whenever you like, because I like to talk. So just cut me whenever you feel like it.
That's okay. That's okay. And your English is great. Actually, before we get started, why don't you go over a little bit what we talked about before the show? What got you so invested in NBA Live, the series, and at the same time, basketball gaming in general?
Yeah. Okay. I'm a 42 years old guy, and people sometimes they get confused. Just because I started the NBA Live BR thing, that doesn't mean I don't like NBA 2K or different brands of basketball games. I love them all, but I felt like there was a necessity of NBA. By the time I started, I was playing NBA Live more than 2K. I think I was a little bit tired of 2K. I usually, back in the days, I just played them both. But then I was playing more NBA Live, and I was looking for content on the internet, and I couldn't find anything, in Portuguese especially. So I started my own thing, to find, I was like, man, gotta be somebody else here in Brazil that feels the same way about this game, or maybe people who might start liking it after watching me playing. So I started. But this whole thing started back when I was a kid. Even before I started playing basketball, I played basketball professionally here in Brazil for like 20 years, and 3 years in the U.S. I got a full scholarship to play basketball in Oklahoma, junior college, and then I went to a small college in the OKC area. And everything I have in my life, not much, but everything I owe to basketball. But the whole thing started with the video game, because back in the days here in Brazil, it was kind of hard. It's not like nowadays it's so easy and to find basketball all over the internet and stuff. But back in the days, it was hard. There was only one TV station that showed basketball, and they didn't even show live basketball. It was like late in the night. So it was hard to get basketball here in Brazil, NBA. It was really hard. So, but video games was easy. So I was so into video games, and I got to play NBA Lakers vs Celtics in the NBA playoffs. That was the name of the game. And I got so addicted, and I got so in love with this game, and I started looking for basketball stuff. So before I start playing basketball, and before I start watching basketball, I was playing in the video game. And then in 1992, when the Olympics hit, I was like, man, I'm going to watch the Olympics. I'm going to watch basketball this time because I want to see what's this game, you know. But I was playing video games before that. So when the Olympics came, the Olympic Games came, the USA had that crazy team, you know, the dream team, the original dream team. And I got so fascinated. It was like love in the first sight. So after that, I started watching basketball like NBA, and they start showing more here in Brazil. But that's how the whole thing started. The whole passion started with the video games. I was playing Lakers vs Celtics, and it was crazy, the signatures. And they got Charles Barkley in there. And then in the Olympics, Charles Barkley became my favorite player. And then I started watching basketball, and the Phoenix Suns had that great run back in 92, 93. That was my first year watching basketball. So it was crazy, man. But it all started with the NBA Live, the series, like before it was NBA Live. So I'm very like, the word will not come out, would not, I'm missing this word, but I'm not grateful, maybe grateful. But I have this this doubt with the EA, you know. I feel like I owe something to EA because the whole passion started with the NBA Live series before it was live. It was Lakers vs Celtics in the NBA playoffs.
Yeah,
I think that's about it.
What an introduction to basketball to be watching the Dream Team.
Yeah,
right?
that was
I mean,
crazy.
how can you not fall in love with that? And Charles Barkley also was the most popular player on the Dream Team. A lot of people don't realize that. He was fantastic. And 92-93 was also one of the best seasons in NBA history, in my opinion. I loved that season. I loved the teams across the league. I loved even the art of the league, the art of the teams and whatnot. You know, for me, and I'm going to throw this over to Swaggy as well real quick.
I'm not a big fan of how it ended.
No,
but I was.
You're a Barkley. You're your Suns fan, right? Exactly. How could you be? But you know, for me too, it was double dribble and Jordan versus Bird were my first two games. But after that, it was Bulls versus Blazers and NBA Showdown, NBA Live 95, and then some other games in between that really I was into, like NCAA basketball for Super NES and games like that. Another thing that it wasn't just video games; it was also basketball cards. Like for me, one of the things too that connected me with the NBA was collecting basketball cards, and it made me learn more about the players. I'd read all the backs of the cards, all of that stuff. So it was usually a combination of those things, and then trying to watch as many national televised games as that you could find, because we didn't have YouTube. So, Swag, what about you? What about you?
Yeah, my story is very much so closely related to Mr. Ortiz here. Before there was video games, we had basketball, and you know, we had our backyards, we had our makeshift rims, and it was my brother and I who would compete almost every day against each other. And once we finally got introduced to the Sega Genesis via one of my friends, we played the Bulls versus Blazer, and I just fell in love with it because it felt like I was actually playing. I'm sorry, Lakers versus Lakers versus Bulls. I'm sorry if I get the titles wrong, but I just remember playing with my Laker team on that console and not wanting to get off because it felt like I had control of those actual players that I loved back then. And the thing about it was, you know, the signature that was there is just something that you just wanted to emulate out there on the court. So our weekend routine was virtually this: we would wake up in the morning, we would do all our chores. We'd go to the store, make sure we got what we needed for the weekend, you know, for our parents. And then we would go and play a little bit of NBA Live, and then we would go out and take what we learned in strategy from NBA Live out into the playground. And it was beautiful because my brother actually took it to the next level to where he actually ended up being a coach. And with me being asthma stricken, I actually ended up reading a lot and playing a lot of NBA Live in the house. So my brother would be out there dribbling the basketball, but I would be playing NBA Live, learning the plays, learning defensive strategies, so just learning, all of the signature that was there in the game during that time. And, I would actually defeat him until he learned some of the strategies on his own, and then he started to get the best of me. But just like Ortiz, Mr. Ortiz, I felt as if I owed NBA Live something, because I was grateful for them, accompanying me in my bedroom during those days where I literally struggled to breathe, because my asthma was persistent, and I was in the house almost 2 weeks out of the month because I was allergic to the world kind of deal. But yeah, when NBA Live came back, I just wanted to build a community and look for individuals who were just as passionate as Mr. Ortiz, that were out there who actually cared about NBA Live. And I found that in the NLSC. I found out in NBA Live VR. I found that in the NBA Live stream team. I found that in my brothers of the NBA Live movement. People who just did not actually just bash the game, but actually want the game to succeed because of its great history. And I am so thankful and so grateful to meeting those individuals who are still good friends to this day, especially UD and the brothers of the NOSC and everybody else in the community who just literally supported my passion. I am just literally sometimes a little bit surprised and overwhelmed by how supportive this community has been. And I'm just happy to see others succeed even ahead of me. And like NBA Live VR and, well, now Sylvio Ortiz, your channel is absolutely amazing. I go there for consistent NBA Live content, and it's beautiful. And I hope that they do well with NBA Live 22 if it comes. I really hope they do.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have met you if it wasn't for you tuning into my Live 19 streams. Like you and I wouldn't have met, and look how much we've been able to talk and bond over the last couple of years, but that wouldn't have happened if you weren't tuning into that NBA Live content. So every now and then you have to really appreciate these things. And another thing these kids don't understand today, NBA Live was on top. They were everywhere back then for years. They were in everybody's living rooms, all the commercials, all of the advertising, all that stuff. It wasn't until NBA 2K9 that 2K started outselling the NBA Live series. So these kids today who think that, NBA Live, you hear these stupid comments like, oh, they've always been trash, or they've never been able to compete, and 2K has always been the better game. That is not true. And and all three of us were around to see that is definitely not the case. So,
Absolutely.
Man, they sometimes it's just funny, man. It's just funny because here, I know in America it's different. In Brazil, like, it's not like basketball. Like, people like to watch the NBA and stuff, but it's not like everybody knows basketball that well. So that's what I keep saying here in my channel. Like, in the US, everybody knows sports. Like, sports is like huge in the culture, It's like soccer here. Soccer is huge here in Brazil. But people love the NBA, but they love to watch. Not everybody knows the game that well. So I think it's funny because sometimes kids come to me and they say, no, man, this game is trash. Why do you play this game? And when I ask them about NBA 2K, what you play? And they don't know. They don't even know what they're doing. Like, they just, And then like 2 days ago, I think 3 days ago, one guy, I don't know, maybe a kid, he came to my channel and he was like, man, I bought this game. This game is trash because Live was on a sale. And he was like, this game is trash and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, calm down, man. Why you think it's trash? Do you know, like, try to play, try to slow down, like, try to put on a easy level and start from easy and keep going. If you're not having fun, okay, man, just give up. But if you want to have fun, just try a little bit. Like, and he came to my stream. I was streaming. I went back streaming with the Rockets, and he was asking me questions, and I was answering. And he was watching me playing, and he was like, "Man, the way you play and stuff, and this game looks fun. I'm gonna give it another try." And he went back to Live, and And then we have a little group on the internet, and he came to me and he was like, man, good thing I didn't give up. I didn't give up because this game, it's fun. And life is fun. You can about life, but it's fun. It's a fun game, and it's an easy game. It makes everybody feels like. I think maybe the thing they did it wrong was try to please everybody. You know, like people who are hardcore basketball fans and gamers, and people who never had even contact with the basketball, because it's an easy game. It's easy to pick up. Like the way the game is played, it makes like people who never play a basketball game. It's kind of easy for them to block a shot, you know, to maybe rebound, and those type of stuff like gives you a little joy. So the guy was like thanking me after my last 2 streams. He was like, man, thank you. This game is fun. So it's not like it's just because people say it's trash. I keep saying this. Just because people say it's trash, it doesn't mean you cannot have like a good experience out of that, because, you know, people have different.
Yeah, but they're conditioned to also say it's trash.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
exactly.
part of the problem. They're
exactly.
programmed to say that's trash because that's not what's popular. That's not what kids are playing.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
They don't even give the game a lot.
They don't even know what they're saying.
But that's why I try so hard, like you do on your stream. That's why I try so hard, and Swag's seen a lot of my gameplay videos. That's why I try to upload videos that make the game play the way it's supposed to make it look the way it's supposed to, so people can see that I'm having fun with the game, and they're like, oh, wait a minute, I didn't know you could do that, or oh, wait, that was smooth, I never thought about making that pass or doing that. Oh, that was great the way you came over from the weak side and got that blocked shot, I wouldn't have done that, and stuff.
And you're not faking it.
Right,
you're not
exactly.
faking it.
This is real. What I upload is real gameplay from my brother and I.
You are having fun with the game, so it's possible. It's possible. Exactly. It's not like it's a bad game. You're not gonna have fun at all. It's possible to have fun. So that's why I created the channel. If I'm having fun, I think it might be somebody crazy out there, just crazy like me, like myself, who are having the same amount of fun, but they don't have a voice because they don't have anybody here in Brazil talking about this game, because nobody cares, you know. So that's why I started. I'm not trying to be famous or anything like that. I'm just trying to help people to who have the same passion. And we now have a nice group of people playing NBA Live here in Brazil. And before that, people didn't have anybody to reach, like to play together and stuff like that. Now we have a nice group. Like I know on Xbox we have like more than 50 people playing, and on PS4. I don't know, like right now, I'm not sure, but people are still playing. And we had back in the days, like 1 or 2 years ago, we had a great group of people playing here in Brazil. And that I'm happy for that, because I am part of this. I kind of created this whole culture of playing NBA Live or bringing people together. That's the great thing about NBA Live BR. Brought people together, like with the same passion. And the group keeps growing and growing.
It becomes a part of it. It becomes a part of you. It does. And also what you realize is all the experiences that you have. I talk about making memories with basketball games. All the experience you had, you want other people to make those memories. And you feel like you can show them how to make those memories. Swag, what were you going to say?
No, he definitely nailed it. That was my whole thing. It was just to kind of demonstrate on my streams how fun the game is, you know. I did want the game to go into a certain direction, because I heard the voices of those who were opponents of the game stating that the game didn't have this and the game didn't have that. So I did play a part in trying to contribute feedback that we thought would be rational, not just myself, but, you know, you guys here, that would help to progress the game in a way in which it would be beneficial to all. But one thing that NBA Live did nail, and I will say this beyond a shadow of a doubt, is the fun factor. It started with NBA Live 16 by bringing in their version of Pro-Am, and NBA Live 18 was just an outstanding experience as far as onboarding, having players come in and build their characters up quickly and having multiple characters at that. And then NBA Live 19 kind of went out the gate just a little bit too arcade. But I thought NBA Live 18 was that cement of a perfect mixture between simulation and arcade. Whereas NBA Live 19, in my opinion, when it first came out after the patches, it was just way too far off arcade. And those who enjoyed NBA Live 18 and its online experience started to fade away. But yes, you are absolutely right. NBA Live BR, that NBA Live does have a fun factor, an ease, pick up and play aspect to themselves that is extraordinarily valuable that I don't want them to lose, but I also want them to build upon, trying to put some level of strategy and skill in there for those who may be a little bit experienced who wants to have some fun on that level competitively, because I believe the majority of the basketball gaming community is ready for that. But that's just my opinion.
And we're going to get into and we're going to get into having the bones in place too. You're talking about Live 18, Live 19 was hurt by patches and stuff like that, but we can get into that in a few minutes. I want to go to the first of our two topics. What are your gaming habits? Because I think that can absolutely influence your wish list for NBA Live 22. So I'm going to start with Mr. Ortiz, or as you say, NBA Live BR. What are not only your basketball gaming habits, but what are your gaming habits in general?
Well, that's a good question, because what we were just talking about in my gaming habits, they both like. Let me try to explain. I can't be in front of my video game like 24/7. I got a job, I got my family, I got my kids. So whenever I got like 1 hour, 2 hours a day to play video games, I want to just have fun. I want to be as good experience as it can be. So that's why probably I play more NBA Live than NBA 2K, because 2K you have to grind on that game. You got to spend some hours on it. And NBA Live you can just sit there and play for like 2 hours and just have fun. You don't have to really spend a lot of time playing it. So that might be the biggest thing about NBA Live, because like sometimes I just have a tired day at work, and I get home and I just want to, like, I have the kids and stuff, and I just want to play a video game and have a little fun to finish my day. So NBA Live delivers, that easy fun. I don't want to be grinding. I don't have time to be grinding. And another thing, basketball. I played basketball for 20 years. Like practice like 2-3 times a day and everything. It was really like exhausting. And so if I want a basketball experience, I have the real life thing. So in video games, I just want to have fun, man. At the end of the day, I just want to have fun and relax. So I don't want to be grinding on video games and anything like that. So my habits are pretty much that way. I just play at nights, like before I go to sleep, before I go to bed. I'm really a franchise guy. I don't like to play online that much. I play live run because I think live run is fun when you're playing with your friends. But I like to play franchise. I like the whole offline experience. So you see when I talk about my wish list, you see a lot of offline stuff because I'm really an offline guy. I play, when you were talking about my habits overall, I like Battlefield a little bit. I'm off Battlefield now, but sometimes I play a lot of Battlefield because the maps are really big, so it's not as crazy as Call of Duty. And I've been playing a lot of Avengers now. I know people don't like this game as much, but I can have fun, and I play a lot of Lego with my kids. So we are big Lego. It's Lego. It's how you call it. Lego Marvel. We love that. We love those games. So I play with my kids, man. I have a 7-year-old at home, so we play a lot of Lego. And but now he's kind of turning his back on me because he's been playing so much Fortnite, and I don't like Fortnite because that game is so crazy and quick, and I don't like Fortnite that much. So he's been playing a lot by himself, by himself, and I've been playing a lot of live lately. So that's it, man. Basically, Avengers and NBA Live, like nowadays. I gave up on 2K21. I tried to play 2K21 for a while, but like I told you before, my family is huge, and I have like 3 kids. So I can't have NBA 2K21 like 100, I think, gigabytes. I have so many games, so many people to please at home, and you can have only one game, like wasting all this space in my video game.
Got you.
No, I'm very much similar, and I'm going to throw this over to Swag before I get into my gaming habits in full. I'm very similar as far as I'm very much a My League guy, or obviously in live it's going to be called Dynasty or before franchise or whatnot.
Yeah.
So I'm very much the same. I try to stay away from the online scene just because it's so toxic.
Yeah.
I don't like to use the whole term of I'm too old for this, you know what. But sometimes I feel like I'm too old for that.
Yeah, exactly. Same here. Same here. Same energy. Yeah. Same energy.
Yeah. Swag, what about you?
Absolutely. All of us grew up during the era where online gaming was not even an option. Matter of fact, it was a measure of innovation for us to tap into that online resource once it became available. So our gaming experience primarily came offline, and I think that's what made playing NBA Live during that time so rich to us, because we were not only able to enjoy the game, but we are also able to install our imagination as to what we would like to see in the game for future installments. And when we saw those things coming into fruition, it just grew our excitement that much more. So I'm just like you guys, you know, I play about an hour or two a day now. But back in 2014, 2015, I was able to play a lot more. That's because I was so happy that NBA Live came back. So
I remember that feeling.
Yes. When NBA Live came back, I really dove into the bounce tech and saw the beauty of it, because I mastered the controls, and I saw the community complain about how difficult the game was to play. It was rigid, it was stiff, it was horrible graphically, but the concepts that they had in place I thought were a great introduction into where they could go in trajectory for building the game. But yes, I am just like you guys. I find the value in trying to emulate basketball offline and making that a performance for my viewers. Whenever I stream the game, I add my own little commentary. I still use my imagination when I play the game offline, trying to build stories and try to build.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
We used our imagination so much. I said this on the NLSC podcast. I did this with at Tecmo Super NBA Basketball when I was little. We had a typewriter, really old typewriter upstairs, and I would play games using the Pistons with Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, and Dennis Rodman. And after each game, I would run upstairs, and I'd get on my typewriter, and I'd type a fake article about the game that I had just had. And then I would go and open up a magazine. So we had all the basketball magazines, and I'd cut out a picture of Isaiah Thomas, and I'd put it on the article, and I'd make it look awesome. We used to use our imaginations like that. And it's the same reason Andrew Begley, my co-host on the NLSC podcast, he's been doing that podcast forever, running the NLSC since 2001. You know, it's why he was so into doing realistic franchises on NBA Live, because he would act as the GM, and he'd trade the players, and he'd sign certain players and stuff, and he'd print out the stat sheets, because that's what we had to do back then. We'd have to hook up our printer to our computer and print out the stat sheets, which was so cool, by the way, which was super cool. Like, I used to love it.
Really was. Yeah. I'm not going to lie, it really was. Going through the NBA.com website to print the roster so you can upload, so you could keep like updated. So I used to print the whole roster, the whole NBA roster, the whole thing, just to keep the game updated. So it was crazy, but it was fun, man. Still fun, man.
Like the way I enjoy the NBA Live now, although it has significant, that's an understatement, significant limitations upon its franchise interpretation, I love building stories in the season. Like, if I see a big game that's coming up in the record, say for example, Cleveland is like, I remember this one season, Cleveland is on a 27-game winning streak, and we were getting ready to meet them. I would commentate that aspect, you know, while we're in the game against the Hornets or whatever. So coming up next week, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to stay tuned to the Lakers versus Cavaliers. Currently on the 27-game winning streak, while the Lakers, #1 in the Western Conference, like, it just added a sense of realism and value to the game when you would put your own story into the NBA experience. And that's all we kind of wanted, you know, and 2K was able to kind of move that needle in that regard, because you would see them doing those things for their items of presentation. And NBA Live was on the right track. I mean, they had the coaches, you know, talking in halftime at the end of the game, like, yo, we got to move the basketball. You know, they were actually talking to their players. I'm like, this is great. And then they would retract it. You know, so we would try to find value and immersion into the game with our offline experiences. But what NBA Live did very well was define an online experience with their interpretation of street basketball and with their version of the one. And I just wanted them to build upon that as well by continuing to find new ways of building that story. And even though their version was a little bit unorthodox with their path to the NBA, it was still high in imaginative value. And I could see that value even being more so important now if they consider building upon the one for Live 22. I really hope that they continue.
I think also being fair to the gamer as far as microtransactions go, I think is a really big thing that's going to win them a lot of people. If they come back and they have a mode like the one that doesn't make people feel like they're grinding or feel like they have to spend all of this money and all of that stuff to upgrade their player and whatnot. And the same with Ultimate Team, you know, making that mode fair and make people not feel like they have to shell out all of this money just to have fun in a mode. So we can get into that in a minute. So first, real quick for me, I guess my gaming habits are very much like both of yours. I'm a My League guy. Or Play Now. I do a lot of roster editing. I do modding. I'm a contributor over on the NLSC as well. So like really into classic rosters, retro rosters, making, adding new teams to games, etc. So I'm going to get into that when I get into my NBA Live 22 wish list, how important it is that I think they need to bring retro back into the offline space. Outside of basketball games, modding, playing My League and all of that stuff, for me, really, it's finding great two-player games, which is exceedingly rare to play with my brother. So, we play games like Monster Hunter World, Unruly Heroes. We've been playing Contra lately, the original, the NES Contra.
Oh.
Yeah, we've been trying to beat that without dying, which has been...
Those games are so hard, man.
Listen, if you want the hardest video games that you can play, go back and play some of the NES titles like Bayou.
Oh my God, exactly.
Games like that. They're so tough. Contra 3 for Super Nintendo, I think it's called the Legacy Wars or something like that. I can't remember the name of it. But that game, the first level, you can't even get like 10 seconds into the first level without dying. Like, you're just dying. Like over and over and over again. That's when the games were challenging back then.
Yeah, everything's so easy nowadays, man.
Yeah,
like everything. Just kids are so like.
Yeah, the Contras.
They don't know, man.
Yeah, Contras one of those.
Yeah, those games are so hard, man. Yeah. Oh my God. Kids these days, man, they don't know. They just don't know. They will never know.
And that's because they're, these companies are catering to trying to make a game that appeals to absolutely everybody. That's the thing. And you kind of alluded to that earlier when you were talking about NBA 2K as well. They're trying to create a game that is going to hit all demographics, all ages, that's going to, appeal mostly to the casual gamer. And that's what mostly exists now. It's the casual gamer without that imagination and without that, competitive streak that we had when we were growing up. So I can definitely agree with that. As far as the last topic, so this is the main topic, NBA Live 22 wish lists. So I think we're all under the impression that we're going to get NBA Live 22. They don't bring on Scott O'Gallagher as a director, and they don't bring on Rob Jones if they're not going to release a game on this gen, on PS5, Xbox Series X. So when I heard that announcement, I'm sure you too, Mr. Ortiz, you were probably like, oh my God. When I heard that announcement, I was like, oh my God, we're finally going to get a competitor. Live is coming back.
Yes.
And we saw those posts too. There were job postings for, you know, a marketing team and whatnot for the NBA Live series. It specifically says EA Sports NBA Live, and this was right after they brought Scott O'Gallagher on. So I can go into a wish list podcast or whatever you want to call this. I can go into this feeling comfortable that we're going to get it.
Oh,
That's
my God.
yeah. So which is super exciting. So
well deserved, by the way.
right.
Well deserved, man.
Yeah,
we suffer so much. We as a community. Oh my God, man, this is so hard. It's so hard to be like a supporter of NBA Live, man. It's so hard. Like this silence, the whole thing is crazy. One day I was watching Scott O'Gallagher and Ryan Hollins. They had this live on Instagram. They have this Instagram Live, and I was watching, and I asked them about NBA Live. They were talking about something else, and I asked them about NBA Live. And Ryan Hollins, he fixed the comment, but Scott O'Gallagher, he pretends he didn't saw it, and they had this kind of like a little laugh, and they continued talking. So I was like, man, nobody. How hard it is for them to keep secrets, you know. I don't know if there's anything going on, but it is hard to keep secrets because I know for a fact, because I was there in Orlando, and I heard some stuff, and I saw some stuff, and they asked me to be completely mute about it.
Oh yeah.
And I was. It was hard. Still is. I can't talk about it.
See, that's why I tag those people, though. And I said this, I tag Scott O'Gallagher in tweets and whatnot every now and then. I tag Beluba for NBA 2K and Lazar and whatnot, because while they can't say anything, chances are they could see it, and it could still influence them. So I've had that happen on that roster thread that I created, kind of exposing what the roster issues and the laziness that 2K has had with their rosters. And they were like, well, why are you tagging Beluba? You know, he doesn't control that side of it, or something like that. Or why are you tagging Dazar? Well, because if they see it, maybe they can do something about it. I don't need a response.
Yeah, exactly.
Like people. So that's why it's important to tag them on that. But that was a powerful thread for sure. You know what I mean? So yeah, let's see if we could go with this wish list and
Swag, you go first. Now that you brought it up.
Let's go.
There you go.
Well, for me, I tend to be very optimistic about the NBA Live franchise. I am sometimes considered a hyper optimist at times. And sometimes there are individuals who try to bring my optimism back down. But that's because I can see pieces of the puzzle that just simply needs to come together with what they presented since not even all the way back from 2005. I'm talking about from recent as Live 14 to now, that they can integrate into developing their game and making it a very fun and respectful game. I find treasures in the trash, as people will call it, when it comes to NBA Live. And I look at the conceptual value of what they can present with their gameplay, which is a chief concern for me, that could give an outstanding experience. Number one, I love the player movement for NBA Live. The only thing that just needed to be reduced was the two-man animation sequences that makes you feel as if you're out of control. So in that portion, I believe, as I've come to part one of my wish, I wanted to have more skill integrated controls into the game, not to the point to where they're overwhelmed, but to the point to where the player will feel rewarded for their effort in being able to understand any item of control that kind of have them be set apart from others that would be motivated to learn the game that much more. But the animation has to be fluid and consistent and authentic and signature and in its execution. So one thing that I loved about NBA Live 14 was they had dribble combinations with the bounce tag. A lot of people just, see it as this rugged system, but if they could have worked in blending those animations together, the player would have had the ability to really develop their own style of dribbling, which I think NBA Live can do right now, because they came very close with NBA Live 18, and that's why you see 2K taking that route with their dribbling system now. Because NBA Live 18 had their dribbles, instead of having, like, let's say, what's the move? This when you dribble gatherers for say, I'm sorry, they would actually give the players, the individuals, to the ability to segment their dribbles and chop it up the way they wanted to. It just had a few blending issues. But I think now with the bounce tech that they had in Live 14 in combination with the dribbling that they presented in Live 18, working together and blending well, boom, I think that aspect of gameplay would be very solid. I would also want them to expand upon their idea in which they presented in Live 18, which is part 2 of my wish list, with their one-on-one interaction with the defense mechanism. Now that I believe helped to solidify and define defensive interpretation in that game, which was very good. The only issue that the community complained about was the two-man steal animation, which would occur that did not feel as if it was based upon skill or even anticipation. So all they had to do, and I say all they had to do like it's very easy to do, but it's not, because it's development. It takes time and it takes understanding conceptually on how to design this. But all we wanted was a little bit more like a more anticipatory style of defense, which will actually demonstrate a defensive outcome on ball that is warranted. So if someone adequately anticipated in a defensive sequence, let's say once or twice or even 3 times where the player was going, then they could be awarded with a steal or have their stamina be reduced if they're over dribbling and the defender is doing a good job anticipating their movements and cutting them off with that one-on-one interpretation, awarding the defensive player. So the interactions just needed to be improved there for Live 18. And I thought they were going to do that for Live 19, but we just got more two-man sequences, and that was really disappointing. So dribbling, finding a way to bring back the bounce tech and mix in the freestyle dribble flawlessly to where they blend well to players, where players can make their own individualized type of signature moves. Great. And improving the defensive interactions one-on-one by making the defense a more anticipatory style, rewarding the defensive player for playing defense smartly, knowing when to apply pressure onto the offensive player and back it off, and anticipating the player's moves thereafter and applying defensive pressure tightly again. I think that would be great in developing a skill-oriented type of game. But those are just 2. I can get long with it, but I have plenty more. But I want to pass it on to you, NBA Live BR, because I'm about gameplay, but I want to hear what you have to say, because your franchise, you're just like me, and I'm excited to your game. But
Exactly. No, I agree with everything you said about gameplay. That's the gameplay improvements, and yeah, there's a lot of gameplay improvements that can be done, like more animations and overall animations. Like I like to joke, but I call it signature everything. If you play old EA Sports games, I was playing these days, like I've been playing a lot of NCAA basketball 10, and they had this whole, like, the arenas, the way the atmosphere are different and stuff like that. And I think they should try to bring back to NBA Live, like, you got to feel like you're playing against those guys. You got to feel the energy in the arenas, stuff like that, like signature everything, the way he responds to a bad call. So, it's next gen. So you want to go hard on it. So the way players behave, the way players act, the way players move, the way they run, the way they walk, the way they body language, everything. If you got to go all the way. So this type of stuff, I really would like to see it. I have some notes here on my notebook. I have my NBA Live BR notebook. My wife made it for me. She works with the whole paper craft, so she made me a notebook. And I have some crazy ideas. One thing I think NBA Live should, like, maybe, I know this is crazy, but I wouldn't be playing this mode, not for myself, but I think kids would like it. Like, you already have The Sims. EA got The Sims. So if you want to have a NBA live run, so make it something like The Sims. You create your player, you have your house, so your player must eat. So if you don't eat, it's gonna affect the way you play. Just for the kids, have like some kind of a neighborhood. It's crazy, but it's crazy ideas. So
I
You
don't
have
think
something
I don't
for the
think it's that
neighborhood.
crazy. If you look what 2K's already done with the neighborhood and stuff, you have to like
Yeah,
you have
it's
to go
not
to
that
the
far
gym.
from it.
Right. You have to go to the gym and lift and all of that stuff. They don't get down to like
Exactly. Yeah.
saying, "Hey, if you don't have a drink of water, you're going to die." It's not like that.
Exactly.
But
Right.
but I agree. But I agree with you that I think that there's a reason why they went that route with NBA 2K because it does appeal to a portion of the demographic.
Yeah, some kind of, you already have the Sims. EA already got the Sims, so do something like the integrate, the Sims, NBA Live, something crazy for the kids. I wouldn't be playing because I don't have time to really have a player to grow. But I think the kids, maybe you got to do something for the kids and bring the kids back to NBA Live, because right now all they do is they want to play NBA 2K. The kids, the for the one mode, I think it would be fun to have like something like a WNBA and an NBA, like two stories. Like if you want to create a girl or a boy, and you start in the high school, like a career mode. You create your player, and he started on high school, and you have something like that movie, the old movie Love and Basketball.
Yeah.
When they grow, so you got to make decisions through the career, something like the journey on FIFA, but you like the girl and the boy. So if you choose the boy, you're gonna go through the path of the boy, and they go to different college and stuff like that, just to make a little story mode, to make it different and fun, and starting from high school, and they grow in the same like neighborhood and stuff like that, and you keep like going through stages of life. That could be something. I don't know.
Well, that would get
And
more. That would get more girls into it though. If you
Yeah,
have
that
that
would,
maybe, yeah,
separate
why not?
mode. Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to like, crazy ideas, but I don't know. I don't know what can be done on this next gen video games. So, and on that note, on the live run, like the Sims thing, have different courts like the neighborhood that have, but on the like, I I think they should try to integrate, like bring something different, like maybe FIBA 3v3. It's Olympic now. It's a new thing. They used to have FIBA international teams and stuff on Live 10, and they never did it back. But this might not be as big in America, but if you think the rest of the world, they want to see their players and stuff. So that could be fun, like, or bring back the FIBA World Cup, or even the FIBA 3v3, because 3v3 is something new. It might get big, like around the world already is big. So, or even the Ice Cube League, I don't know. But 3v3, try something different with the 3v3. Have like players, real players, like 3v3 players in the game. So you're gonna attract a different people to play live. Like, oh, I'm a big fan of 3v3. Oh, I'm in the game now. Oh, you know, I'm a 3v3 player. I'm Dusan Bulut from Serbia. I'm a big player. I'm on the game. So you got to play my game. I'm on NBA Live. So, you know, try something different. So I think 3v3 could be fun, the FIBA. And that's basically it, you know, for my game modes ideas. Because gameplay, we know it must be improved on different areas of the game. But those are my basic crazy ideas for game modes. And I think they should try in franchise, man. You know, I'm a big franchise player. I've been playing old NBA Lives, and I see, like, on NBA Live 10, you can practice on the facility. I was playing with the Lakers, and you can practice and do
And they got the
drills, just
screens
like
up and everything.
2K.
What a cool idea it
right.
was too. And they have the screens of there's like highlights of the games being
Exactly.
played, and I'm just like, that is such a cool idea.
I feel like
That-
NBA Live through the years, it's like a car full of things, and they keep driving and stuff keep falling. Like every year they take something good out of the game, and I don't know why, because when you play NBA Live 10, there's so much stuff, like cool stuff on franchise. You get to hire your staff, simple things. You know, they already done it. So why we don't have stuff like that no more? Like the practice gym, that was I was having so much fun playing with the Celtics, and we had practice, and 2K. I don't know who started, but I know, like, I didn't remember that they had this feature on NBA Live, but the practice thing was like on franchise, and I so passionate about franchise, and they don't have this anymore. So it's kind of disappointing. So I hope they bring all the good stuff they had in the past back, like DNA. I think DNA was a great idea. There's like tendencies, the way players like, because I don't feel like when you play when you play different players, I don't feel like you're really playing that guy, you know, the way they play on NBA Live. I kind of feel like everybody can do everything, and that's a little frustrating, you know. So
well, DNA made NBA Live. Well, DNA, sorry to interrupt you. DNA made NBA Live '09 feel fresh. It made it feel like something completely different than what anybody else was doing. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
They had the ideas. They had the good ideas on EA. Like if you think, so many great stuff started with the NBA Live franchise. Even stuff they're using on FIFA now and Madden started on NBA Live. So the ideas are good. They just gotta find a way to make it work, you know. So those are basically my ideas, man. I just want to see a good franchise, but I know I'm a minority. If you think gaming, the way people play video games these days, nobody cares as much for franchise. So I just want them to make franchise a little better. And the other ideas, I think it would be more fun for kids these days. But myself, I want a better franchise because I love that game mode. You know, I've been playing franchise still playing franchise from Live 19, and I played a little bit on Live 10, and I felt like, man, why they not using this anymore, and why they not using that anymore? So I just hope they bring back everything they did right, and I just hope we get a new, fresh NBA Live game to play. I think they should, like, they've been quiet for so long. So I want them to stay quiet right now. Just wait until 2K21 Next Gen come out. See what people are going to talk about the game, like see the people's reaction. And everything NBA 2K does wrong, just do it better and advertise on that. Like, oh, they making the game like you got to pay for everything. We're going to make everything free, and we're going to be talking about that like crazy, you know, like when you market the game, you're going to be like, hey, you want to have the best clothing, and here's free, stuff like that, you know. Just try to make people realize you can do everything on NBA Live for free. If that is the problem still on Next Gen, if people are still complaining, because people are going to complain about something. Don't get me wrong, people always find something to complain about video games. So people are going to be complaining about something on NBA 2K21 Next Gen. So wait, just chill, sit back, wait, watch, and then you start working on what you're going to bring for Next Gen. But
yeah,
come back, please. Bring NBA Live back, please.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said about the fact that there are a lot of games out there that get very positive and overwhelmingly positive reviews, whether it's on Steam or whether it's high scores on Metacritic. It's not that people are just going online to complain. That's not true.
No.
Hundreds upon thousands of games out there that people are going on and they're talking highly about. If the game is good and it's appealing to the majority of people, it will get a positive score. That is the bottom line. And that's where the red flag comes in with NBA 2K over the last few years, especially since 2K18, with the below 3.0 scores on Metacritic, with the mostly negative or very negative reviews over on Steam as well. So people are actively so frustrated with the game at times, or they're sick of it and they want something new, that they're going onto a review site, and typing this up in a fury. And that says something. So no, I definitely agree with you. Learn
from it.
Yes, learn from that. Exactly.
Wait and learn from it, and use it. in your
I
favor.
agree with that. I want to
That's
go
what I think.
over real quick my wish list because it's very similar to yours with a lot of the gameplay and stuff and whatnot. So I also kind of jotted down some notes. So gameplay needs to be strong at its core, and it needs to make a great first impression. We've seen in the past where past NBA Live games have gotten hurt because of their demo release, because it didn't give a great first impression, whether it was quote unquote janky animations where shots on the move didn't feel right, where the post game felt robotic, where it didn't have the feel that needed to appeal, that they needed to appeal to a wide range of gamers of all ages. So it needs to make a great first impression, and not only in the gameplay aspect, but in the gameplay video aspect. We've talked as far as previews. When we've talked about in the past NBA 2K and what they're doing recently, actually with NBA 2K21, they're showing gameplay videos that don't make the game look strong. They're showing videos. They're showing gameplay videos of like skating, like Damian Lillard skating into a defender. They're showing gameplay videos that have clipping where Draymond Green is going through another player. They're showing gameplay videos of poor defensive rotations like the LeBron Jay Crowder one. So the marketing team needs to do a good job also of making the game look good when they're presenting it. And, you know, hey, there's 3 people on this right here that would do it for free. We get out.
Oh, for sure.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Yeah, we would do it. And also the gameplay experience needs to cater to both casual gamers and experienced or more sim-oriented gamers, meaning it needs to be able to be pick up and play, you know, maybe just somebody who wants to go in and run a pick and roll every now and then or run in isolation, but overall just play a loose experience. That needs to appeal to them, but it also needs to appeal to swag. Somebody who wants to go in there and use some strategy and run some plays and run different defensive sets and maybe run the 32 high, etc. So they can strike that balance of appealing to both gamers. And I think they've struggled with that a little bit in the past. But what they need to do is have it so it feels good on the sticks, no matter what. And this means making it so the player movement is smooth. Making it so there's not so many canned animations where you actually have control, making it so players, when they catch and go, Swag talked about differentiation. When you catch and go on the perimeter, that you actually get an adequate boost to get by your defender. Being able to accurately have a good first step as well. The speed needs to be right. The flow needs to be right. Etc. I think that some of my problems gameplay-wise, and I think you could agree possibly with NBA Live 19, is the gameplay almost felt a little bit stale. There wasn't that differentiation that, or Mr. Ortiz actually talked about here. Pascal Siakam feels just like Kevin Durant, basically, in that game. If you try to ISO, let's say there's a switch where Chris Paul is being guarded by Joel Embiid and you're using Chris Paul. So I know this is a huge pet peeve with Swag. You can't get by Joel Embiid.
Oh my God.
Joel Embiid, he's sticking to you. Like no matter what, there's no differentiation. There's no reason to get that switch, right?
Right.
If
Right.
you can't get by him. So
Exactly.
so I think what happens is it needs to feel tight on the controllers. It needs to have the right pace and flow. They can't have a post game that's so limited and where it feels like you're sticking to the defender. The post game needs to be a little bit stronger in that regard as far as feel. So less being sucked in, basically. So that's the gameplay side of things. As far as depth, you guys kind of talked about it as well, but have basic depth that any sport game should have in the 2020s. And Mr. Ortiz talked about this. He goes, why? It's like a car, like things are falling off the car and they keep taking out features. It's been years now and you cannot use multiple teams in a franchise mode.
Right.
In NBA Live. But about 20 years ago, you could, right? I can jump into NBA Live 2003 and even NBA Live 2000, and I can use multiple teams in my franchise mode. And you can't do that in NBA Live 19.
Right.
It doesn't.
And I think that was one of the most frustrating things for me because, you know, they did such a great job with the one, although it still has limitations. It's still well loved by basketball gamers, whether they're from 2K or NBA Live. it's just a great onboarding experience. But for those who want to expand upon the interpretation of their character and not always want to play in the environment of the one out in the playground, I thought creating a connected online franchise, the one mode, would have been outstanding in, at least trying to introduce that franchise aspect to the gamer who wants to play a more serious style of basketball. Imagine being able to develop your character in the one with playing in the NBA team, but being able to control all of them and also play online against other individuals who are looking to build their characters up with that particular team. It's just awesome. Or just say like the three of us, say, hey, you have your player, and D and Sylvio Ortiz has his, and I have mine, and we're all in the same franchise league, or or we can even team up as members in the NBA and take on the league in that aspect in this one mode as we build our characters up and journey through the NBA and try to become better, and our chemistry working. You see our team chemistry coming together as individuals. Just imagine the amount of content we can create by having that collaboration. It was just kind of mind blowing to me that this was not considered. And even though they did do that with court battles, and I see them trying to integrate Ultimate Team with court battles, and I thought it was a good idea. But once again, the missing piece was not having that capacity to play online with other individuals, even further perpetuating that community build that you really want as you try to go this service route. I thought it was just an opportunity that was just missed, and who knows, hopefully they will do it. But yeah, you nailed it. That's one of my things that I really, really wanted for NBA Live, was to have online connectivity with the franchise at the
talked about this, and we're kind of content creators here, right? We're talking about also content that we can create to promote the game. Like, it's not just about having the content in the game, it's the fact that we can promote that content and get more gamers playing, right?
Absolutely.
These influencers, we talked about this, Agent Double Zero can upload a video that says NBA 2K is great, and it will get 1 million views, right? Those are impressions that people are going to get by looking at those videos, and it puts NBA Live in people's heads and whatnot. Mr. Ortiz, did you have something to say about that?
Yeah.
And I agree 100%. Like that idea of the connected franchise, when it's awesome, man. Like, I think they were so close to hit great things so many times those last years. Like court battle was like awesome idea, but you couldn't play online. Like you had the one awesome idea, but that's so many things you couldn't do. Like, so it feels like they always so close to getting there, but always missing something, and that's sad, man. But I hope now they can do it, man. I hope and by the way, just one important thing. If there's anybody watching, if Scott O'Gallagher, I don't know, anybody, Mike Mahar, somebody from EA, if there's anybody watching this right now, don't forget to make a Brazilian version of this game, man, with the menus and subtitles, or if you can like translate the game and have the whole Brazilian ESPN team doing the TV. I think it's hard right now. We gotta keep our feet on the ground. So the ESPN crew, I know it's hard, but it's not hard to have the whole game translated, because you already got that on NBA Live Mobile. And that's a sad thing, because people keep asking me that. Come on, man. And I went there on EA, and I told them all, like, we need a Portuguese version of NBA Live ASAP, because NBA 2K21 doesn't have that. And I know for a fact lots of people here in Brazil, because I know, man, people here in Brazil, they're not as like, it's hard. 2K is a tough game for people who doesn't understand the language. And if you don't understand basketball, like the whole complexity, I don't know the word, but if you don't really understand
complexity is the right word.
Complexity. If you don't really understand basketball, and I think most of the consumers here in Brazil are not experts in basketball, but they play 2K just because that's the only. If you go to a store here in Brazil, you can find NBA Live. If you ask for a basketball game, and this, not now, because now I know there's only one game on the market. But back in 2018, I went to many stores like who sell video games, and I asked for basketball game, and they always the same answer. This is the game. This is the game you need. This is the only game around. And I kept like, and I asked them, but what about NBA Live? Or just, if I ask about NBA Live, that's how people are here in Brazil, man. You are in America, you have no idea. If you go to a store and ask for NBA Live, they're going to bring NBA 2K and say, this is the only one we got, NBA Live 2K. I'm not lying about this, man. It's stupid, but that's the truth. You can't find NBA Live anywhere here in Brazil.
Yeah, but
the game is not in the stores.
It should be a no-brainer, though, right? When you're talking about like making different translations of languages and whatnot, that gives people a special connection to the game.
Yeah.
Right? It's not even just about the language and being able to say, hey, you know what, I understand it. It gives them, it's like they care about us, right? That company cares enough about our culture and our people to literally put that language in the game.
Not just the money. Not just the money.
Right. Right.
Because 2K sells a lot here in Brazil. I don't know if it's the third market, but I think around that, because Brazilians, we like basketball. Like the NBA, people love NBA here in Brazil, and they want to play video games just like I did back in the days. But if you go to a store, it's nowhere to be found. NBA Live is nowhere to be found. You can find FIFA, you can find Madden, you can find everything, but not Live. And right now, it's impossible. But back when Live was released, you couldn't find it. Not in the stores, like the physical version of it. The only place you could buy NBA Live was on a PSN or a Xbox Live. So you got to make a Portuguese version, and you got to distribute here in Brazil, because everywhere you go, you find NBA 2K. If you go to an NBA store, you can find NBA 2K. If you go to a video game store, you can find NBA 2K, but not NBA Live. And they're gonna give you that like it's the only thing you have around, and it's not true. So I almost had a fight with the guy because I said, no, there's NBA Live around. The NBA Live is out. And he said, no, this is the only game. And I was like,
we got to step our game up because we got to step our game up because Ortiz is going into stores and fighting with people about NBA Live.
We got to fight for a right, not just to party.
I love it.
To have NBA Live.
Good Beastie Boys reference. somebody we grew up with. I'm going to go really quick into the end of this, and you guys can stop me at any point because I still have a little bit more on my wish list. One thing that you actually brought up too is you're talking about the love for the NBA. They got to put the NBA back into NBA Live and really focus on the NBA portion of it. You know, we talked about the one mode. You know, when you first were playing NBA Live 19, you played your first street game. You know, after you were done your first screen game, they were like, there's this like super energetic teenager that they put on the screen who looked like he was 13 years old and saying, oh my God, these highlights are great and everything. They need to stop just trying to appeal to that 13, 14 young teen demographic and realize that not only is it not only those kids that are playing, but these kids are into basketball because of the NBA, right? So they really need to get the NBA back into NBA Live and appeal to more demographics. As far as what I was saying, basic depth, I mean, this means like a functional and deep franchise mode, which should be standard now. Multi-team use, deeper mode, injuries, all of that stuff like you alluded to. Online modes that have good and fair matchmaking mechanics, which Swag also alluded to, something that allows you to matchmake. Maybe you can play a multi-user franchise and whatnot online. That would be a huge step up for them. And I think that should be standard in games now. I do, in sports games. And also a fair ultimate team mode that allows you to get, the players that you want, but not have to like put all of this money into it like that you have to do with Madden Ultimate Team. Roster editing ability. I think you guys can agree with this. This keeps players playing longer, and it allows consumers to be more creative. We were just talking about creativity earlier. We're talking about allowing people to edit signatures, edit ratings, etc. You couldn't edit any of the signatures in NBA Live 19. or NBA Live 18, or NBA Live 16, or NBA Live 15, or NBA Live 14, etc. So they should have a system in place where you can actually customize your teams. I think that should be standard at this point. Also, giving giving people the ability to create players with a more robust, in-depth creative player feature. You know what? If you're not going to have the same licenses, if you're not going to have the Kobe Bryant license and the Michael Jordan license and all of these legends that you can't get licenses for, and they're not going to sign on, give people a creative player feature that's robust and that can actually, you can sculpt the head and make the eyes look realistic and make these players look realistic. And you want players to not get bored with live and not be done after a couple months, which is what happened with NBA Live 19. Give them these abilities because they're going to be playing your game a lot longer and in turn showing it off a lot more as well.
Give us the tools.
Give us the tools. Give us the customization. Be innovative is one of my last points. Maybe allow people to create courts, logos, and teams offline.
Oh, yeah.
You have the capacity, right? So NBA 2K restricts this to My League, right? So you can go into My League and NBA 2K and you can create a court, you can create a logo, you can create your own jerseys, but it's limited to the teams that are also in that My League. But with NBA Live, what they could do is bring that customization that's in NBA 2K's My League and bring it into offline, so you can use it in Play Now, and you can create rosters that you can take into My League. Do you have any idea how many people would be jumping on this making retro rosters?
I know.
And all of this content and making these special teams and these cool courts in offline mode for 5-on-5 gameplay. So be innovative. It doesn't need to be anything crazy as far as like all of these different innovations, but it can be even something as simple as that one innovation with basic depth that gets players playing your game for a lot longer. And then the last points are, graphics will never be more important than gameplay, but make the graphics pop and give people visuals that stand out. Put your own spin on the graphics as well. It shouldn't look like 2K. Make it stand out more, do different things with it. Bring legends back. It's absolutely ridiculous that they don't. NBA Live was first for having the all-decade teams, remember? And then they also had like the legends pool that you had. And then all of a sudden, like Ortiz was talking about, all of a sudden they got rid of that. And now you only have your legends in court battles or in Ultimate Team. Give people either a legends pool or bring back all-decade teams. Find some way to get your licensed legends, which you have a lot of them for Ultimate Team. Find a way to get them into offline so people can mess around with them. Again, this is people staying on your game longer and promoting the game more and uploading more videos to YouTube and getting more impressions, etc. So I think that's incredibly important, whether it's classic teams, all decade teams, legends pool, etc. Get those back. And then the last one is market your damn game. I am so sick of the lack of marketing, their rich history, the lack of marketing that they do in general, even when they had a game out. Not talking about the rich history with the NBA Jam franchise and some of the titles that they released for that in the past. They need to be, NBA Live needs to be in everybody's heads. It needs to be in everybody's living rooms. Bring back the commercials, pay for those commercials so it's in everybody's living rooms. Put your, those commercials and ads on different podcasts and whatnot, advertise them on YouTube, pay for that advertising, all of that. NBA Live should be in everybody's living rooms, and they have not done a good job in the past. And Swag and I talked about this a little bit, and I think you can agree. They need a strong community manager. They need a strong community manager or managers that are going to be out in the community, and they're going to be engaging with people and keeping that brand on people's minds.
Yes, we want to do it in a way that is just so positive, and inviting, literally embracing those who felt alienated from the brand, allowing them to return triumphantly back to what they've known. And like you said, just going back to the basics and just putting it into the game will bolster confidence on a whole new level, and for it to function appropriately, competently. Well, that just the basics alone, like you've mentioned, D, would have people coming back into NBA Live. because they see the expansion and they see the depth and they see the growth. And like I said, the game is so below the grade. But for them to maintain relevancy in spite of that fact just shows how profound that legacy is. So, you know, it doesn't require much, but it does require functionality and comprehensive devotion to the things that matter to basketball gamers and having it work well in their game. And I am more than confident to say that EA Sports can do this with NBA Live. I know they can do it. They've done it in the past. They still have some of those engineers and developers that were there during the days of glory who could just, if EA allowed them to, reinstall this game into a more, that is now going into a more powerful system that have limitless capacity at this level as to what they can do in development, and release the game at this state. And yes, I do see them doing great things. If what you've mentioned and what we've mentioned can be considered. One thing that I also wanted to mention with my wish list, and I think everybody's been asking this since the introduction of Pro and for Live 16, make the game tournament based. You've done a great job doing that with Madden. You've done a great job doing that with FIFA. Could you imagine having regional tournaments for NBA Live with your interpretation of Pro-Am? Bring in affiliations like what Rock had mentioned and I have mentioned, many members of the community have mentioned, bringing back affiliations, having teams, you know, be well coordinated there, giving them a structure for them to compete with sound rules that has to be implemented. Once again, going back to the gameplay and adding traits that are very strategic that when they're blended well, can literally make a team invincible unless a team does not know. I mean, unless a team knows how to counter it. You would have a perfect E-League system there. So my greatest wish above all is to have gameplay function so well with on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively, looking meticulously at how these things can be implemented strategically with some level of skill that can make this game esports ready, because that is definitely the future. And NBA Live can definitely be there with the implementation of Pro-Am regional tournaments and making it authentic. It's just, that would just be beautiful if I could see that for NBA Live 22. That would make me want to play on.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say again, and I just want to put this out there again because it's very important. Why do people love basketball? Because of the NBA. I just want to point that's this whole going to street and all of that stuff. That's not the way to go. I just want to point that out. People love basketball. People are on social media talking about the NBA all day. That's what people love. They need to put the NBA back into NBA Live. And Mr. Ortiz, I have a question for you. If they did that offline court creator and the offline jersey and offline team creator, let's say they did something like that. How fast would you be in there testing that out? If you could bring those into my league, I would be, we would be in there. We'd be trying to create the Seattle Supersonics, right? Maybe we can upload our new logos, right? In order to do that, or like our own logos to a database, like kind of like what 2K has right now for their My League source. But would you use that feature?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I kind of, like you said before, like, I started watching basketball with the Phoenix Suns. That was my first team, and I never got to play with them like on the video game, like because you have so many legendary teams. But I think Charles Barkley wouldn't allow his image to be in the game, right? Something like that.
Can I just say this really quick? EA has the money. If it's donating to the Retired Players Association that's going to get Charles Barkley and Reggie Miller into the game, you make that donation. If you're coming back strong, you know what? Make a Legends cover with both Charles Barkley and Reggie Miller.
Yeah, that could be fun. Because I keep hearing people asking for the Pacers and the Suns because of Charles Barkley and Reggie. And I heard Barkley on an interview talking about that. He wants a donation for the Players Association. That could be fun, man. Use that, because if you have like on 2K, they have the legendary covers and stuff. Like there's no shame, like if you take something that's working over there and use it in your favor. Like, because 2K does that.
They took
They do
live.
that.
They took Live's
They do
dribbling.
that.
In NBA 2K13, they took the right stick dribbling that Live
Yeah,
had
man.
since NBA Live.
Yeah, they've been taking stuff away, like low key, like they've
All
been
the
taking
time.
stuff away all the time. But people fail to realize that. But they've been taking stuff away and making great, you know. And so people think
Innovations, right?
they started, but the ideas are here on NBA Live. They have so many great ideas. So
Right.
maybe, just maybe, it's time to to pay back in the same way, you know, because I heard when I went there at EA, they told me they I should be quiet about everything I saw there, because maybe sometimes you know, it's like a war, and NBA Live is like the you know, it's small compared to 2K. So everything they give away early, they might lose it for life, you know. So if they have a good idea, they gotta keep it secret, because
I know I feel bad about even doing this show because I'm like, I don't want somebody from 2K like hearing like our ideas and being like, hey, you know what, that is a great idea. We need to put that in our.
Yeah, but that's how they talk about it, because when they told me, like, in the past they have problems with that, like they showed something early, and they saw that same stuff like got translated to 2K, something like that, you know. So in NBA Live, it's like the how can I say that? I have so many words in Portuguese, but I don't have any in English to say that. But it's like the underdog in the situation, you know.
Right.
So they gotta keep the ideas in secrecy, you know. So maybe it's time to do the opposite, you know. Take some things that work, like Charles Barkley, for example. Like, why not having him a cover, legendary cover with Charles Barkley, when you like, maybe even Allen Iverson. They had Iverson on NBA Live 19. Why not have like a cover? So those ideas.
It's a good way to reintroduce legends too, though. Yeah, like if you're going to do it, even if you're only going to do it for this version, it reintroduces them.
Yeah, well, because they have it only on Ultimate Team, right? In court battles, yeah, they should have the teams and stuff like that, like legendary. That could be fun. But do something like payback in the same way. Like, oh, okay, they do that. That's a good thing they do over there. Like, we might bring that to NBA Live on some fashion. Not the same thing, but like translate to your game stuff that already works over there, you know. So,
and they already did that with NBA Live 19, so they're open to doing it, because if you look at NBA Live 19's control mapping, it's exactly like 2K. Now it's the same alley-oop button where you double tap. It's the same fancy pass button. They took that, and that's fine.
Do you remember how dribble worked on 2K before they used the right stick? Bumper. It was just a change of direction.
Yeah.
The left.
So,
it was holding down a bumper. Yeah.
Where that came from, I don't know. You know, I don't know. Maybe Live. So nobody remembers that. Like, nobody talk about that. But, you know, because when you are big, like, nobody cares about the underdog. So if you take it away from the underdog, nobody cares. Nobody gonna talk about. So maybe it's time to take some good ideas from 2K and bring it to Live. And maybe it's time to.
Mr. Ortiz, you talked about dribbling and swag. I'll throw that over to you in a second. I wanted to bring this up before I lose the thought. You know, NBA Live 10 had size ups for the players. 2K didn't have that at that point. So even something as simple as size ups, which were big parts of NBA 2K15's introduction, 2K16, all of that stuff, that's something that was in NBA Live 10 well before NBA 2K put it in.
And then you take it away and you make it better, and nobody's gonna talk about it. Who started? Nobody cares about who started.
Well, at this
because you make it better.
At this particular point, it doesn't matter who takes from what. It's about execution. So I'm over the whole, you know, NBA Live took this from 2K, or 2K took this from NBA Live. It's all about who made the execution of those maneuvers better. And, you know, NBA Live are great creators. They're great innovators. They originate outstanding ideas. It's just that they haven't had the opportunity to capitalize on those concepts by making it grow throughout the year. So they will introduce one concept and then move away from that. So,
Yeah.
you want to continue to build the game progressively. Because, like I said, NBA Live have great concepts, and I'll point them out. But then again, 2K will take that same concept and they will build upon it, and they will go and run with it. Whereas NBA Live will say, okay, let's go back to the drawing board. Let's start with this. But let me just comment back upon what Dee said about the NBA being the focal point. That is the truth. When I talk about NBA Live being tournament based, I'm talking about increasing community interactions with those who wish to play online. But the core structure of the game, it's based upon the core structure of the title. So if it's NBA Live, then NBA has to be the priority still. And having a robust NBA experience can help to define a robust online experience as well. Because if you understand how the core functions fully, then from that route, you could expand into multiple branches that really deviate, or let's say that really grows from that route. But for a very long time, we have not seen that route come into full development, which has made the one somewhat at times subpar, because the root aspect of the game, which is the gameplay and the NBA experience, has been severely limited. But just imagine if they would have maintained their core experiences that we valued from NBA Live in the past all the way up till now, and then introduced the one. Could you imagine how profoundly robust and how incredible the one experience would have been if they kept all of the principles that they've had in the past and build progressively on that.
Consistency. Imagine if they had stuck with NBA Live 10, their gameplay, and just kept fine-tuning it every year and keep releasing games and keep working at it. And imagine how that gameplay would be today.
Oh gosh, it'd be absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I think
I believe that.
Possibly stronger.
I believe that. With all my heart, I believe that.
Yeah. So I've
been playing a lot of NBA Live 10 nowadays because I got it back. So I got my video game fixed and stuff. And I believe that. I truly believe that.
They had such a strong core in place, as far as like, it was a good casual and sim experience. You can do either. They had the size ups, they had the feel, the fun. There weren't the rocket dunks in that game. The dunks were fixed and they looked smooth and whatnot. You had a little bit of a post game in there and everything, but it also looked great. Like NBA Live 10 looks great. The lighting, the atmosphere, the crowd lighting, all of that stuff. It just looks great.
Still. To this day.
Still. Perfect.
It's crazy. It's crazy. This is crazy to me. I can't, I don't know. I don't know, man. This is just crazy. Yeah. To me, I think it's crazy.
I do too. And I think part of the problem is that we've been disappointed for over a decade at this point. So just the idea that they might be coming back strong and they're making all of these moves and stuff, that's what's crazy to me. Like, that's exciting. So
yeah, gotta be excited.
Yeah,
that's all we got right now. If you're a Live fan, that's all. This is the last hope. You gotta be excited about it. I don't know. I hope I get to play NBA Live in the near future, man, because it's hard. It's hard, man. It's hard not having NBA Live, a new NBA Live to play. Like I tweeted today, I feel I miss that feeling of waiting on a new NBA Live to come out. Like when you got the back in 18, 19, it was cool. Like they had all those trailers and all the excitement when you, like, the game is coming again. We as Live fans, we never know if the game is coming or not, so it's different. It's a different approach to the hype, the pre-launch hype. So I miss those days when you were so hyped for a new NBA Live, because the Live 18 and I think Live 18, especially Live 18, the hype was really high. I was really hyped for that game. I remember that. I was really hyped, and I miss those days, being hyped, because I see people getting hyped for NBA 2K. Even I am a little hyped for NBA 2K for the next gen version of it. So I see people like the fans, the NBA 2K fans, all hype about the game, and I'll be on my in my house like thinking, man, when I'm gonna feel that way, because I can only feel the way like 100% hype for a game if the name of the game is NBA Live. So no matter what, I can be a little hype for NBA 2K, but it's not the same energy. The day they officially say NBA Live is coming back, this day I'll be happy. This day I'll be really happy because I can't wait for NBA Live to come back, man.
I mean, remember how
and I don't even know if it's coming back for sure.
Yeah, but
we don't know.
I feel good. I feel good about it. I do. I think that I said this on the NLSC podcast. I said there's absolutely no way that they're not going to make an attempt.
And I do too. You know why? Yeah. Because Prime just released a video, I think it was yesterday, giving us hope again. Because Prime, the last time he was talking about NBA Live, he was very like, man, stop talking about NBA Live. NBA Live is not coming out no more. And I think it was yesterday Prime came out with a video talking about like what's going on with NBA Live and stuff like that. I was like, what? Okay. I think the Godfather is back, so we might have something coming because
you're gonna see people start talking about it more, and that's when it gets really exciting. And if we get little tidbits or hints, which is what we've gotten so far, we've gotten hints.
Yeah.
You know, the job postings, Scott O'Gallagher coming back, Rob Jones coming back, etc. So we've gotten those hints. But how excited were you, like, when NBA Live 19 with that Joel Embiid intro? Like, even something like that, like when you put on the game, even before you even try the game and you see that intro, you're just like, all right, I'm hyped.
Man,
right.
Man, you have no idea how crazy I got when I saw the real court for the first time.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, this is crazy, because I still think those NBA Live courts, the real courts, they're so beautiful. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. If you can look on NBA 2K for the courts and like the park and stuff like that. There's nothing like the courts on NBA Live, man. They're so beautiful, all of them. Like the ones in New York, Rio, and the Paris, the Quai. They're so beautiful, man. So NBA Live is a beautiful game. It's a beautiful game. So what can they possibly be doing? Like, if you think next gen, the game is already beautiful. I think the game is going to be like awesome. And so, but
I'm excited.
It's got to be a game. So
yeah,
I'm always excited for NBA Live, man. I just hope we get some news soon. Just let the NBA 2K, the hype just slow down a little bit, like maybe a month or so after the release, and then give us any type of news, anything, you know, because they've been really quiet for so long. It's annoying. It's disturbing.
What we can do to help as fans is keep talking about it.
Yeah.
Keep showing interest. Letting them know that what we want and what could help and all of this stuff, because I mean, the more interest they see, the more motivation they're going to have, and that's the way I look at it. So that closes up episode 4 of Virtual Hoop Dreams. Mr. Ortiz, anything you want to plug? I know that you have a YouTube channel, as far as any socials or anything like that.
Well, NBA Live BR, it still exists on Facebook. So if you look on Facebook, NBA Live BR is still there. I changed the name on YouTube and on Instagram. It's now Sylvio Ortiz 78, and I think on YouTube is Canal Sylvio Ortiz, but still the same thing. I'm just not playing as much live as I used to. I'm not playing 100% NBA Live because now I have times that I just talking about basketball and stuff like that, or vlogs I've been doing now. I started last week, but as soon as live get back, I'll be on it like crazy. So I'll be playing live all the time. I still play NBA Live. I still play NBA Live 19, and I'm doing like Thursdays. I'm doing some TBT streams, so I'll be playing old EA Sports basketball games. So I'm all over the place. I'm on Twitter, so I'm all over the place. But Portuguese, so I know sometimes I get people like Swaggy came to my stream. coming to my stream. Some people from, everybody's welcome on my streams. Every time somebody from overseas come to my stream, I try my best to respond in English or only Spanish, man. Spanish is so hard. And I've been getting some Spanish friends, and it's hard for me to speak Spanish. It's hard for me to speak English, but Spanish is almost impossible. So everybody's welcome. So in my channel, if you look for NBA Live BR, you will probably, YouTube is probably going to show you my new channel. So I'm everywhere. I've talked too much, man. I'm sorry. Thanks a lot for having me, man.
No, of course.
You've been a great time.
Listen, you're welcome on anytime. This has been absolutely awesome. And like I said, you understand also the importance you were talking about in the streams of connecting with those people. Even if there's like a language gap or something like that, you understand the importance of connecting with everybody. And I got to tell you, I appreciate that, because like we were talking about earlier, that's something that NBA Live, their marketing team, EA Sports, needs to do better at. They need to do better at connecting with.
Oh my God. Here in Brazil, it's sad. There's nobody talking about NBA.
Yeah. And
there's nothing.
Yeah.
You can look for nobody. There's nobody you can like reach for when you have any questions about NBA Live. There's nobody you can reach here in Brazil for that matter. Yeah. It's sad. That's sad.
That is a shame. Swag, what about you?
Oh, nothing much. You guys nailed it on the head. I was just happy to be here. Once again, I was happy to able to connect with my man, Sylvio Ortiz, aka NBA Live VR. Just want to encourage him to keep doing what he's doing. I've been a fan of your work. You've been a fan of my work, but I've been a fan of your work for multiple years, ever since the beginning of your channel. And when I was at EA and I had the opportunity to go there, I was able to shout out your name, and especially when Rocky Rivera showed that Brazilian court, I said, I know someone in the community is going to be very happy about that. And I kept that secret. I kept that secret right before the EA Play demonstration of the court.
I remember that. It was like the day before, I think.
Yeah, one day before, and I didn't tell you the detail, but I said you'll be very happy.
You just say something, you're going to be very happy for something in this game. I was like, man, what he's trying to tell me.
Look at Swaggy building suspense and drama. I love it.
Yeah, he did it. He did it, man. That was crazy.
But I'm grateful. I am grateful for the connections that have been made as a result of this game, finding a great community, especially connected with, D, NLFC, other developers and producers, and the NLVC. Like I said, so many people in the community that came together and shared their passion. I am grateful for those moments, and I pray that those moments continue, because it is those moments where you find true unity. You find that true peace where people just come together and share joyfully their experiences, something that they find commonality in. So I am wonderfully thankful for those opportunities and for those moments, and I hope NBA Live 22 comes back with that same type of energy that was provided in the past. As of now, I am still playing NBA Live 18, playing Live 19, 14, 15, 16. I'm playing them all, just appreciating them for what it's worth. And I stream like about once a week on Twitch. I'll try to pick that up as much as I can. But you guys keep doing what you're doing, and just know that I'm there, looking in, even if I don't comment.
Like I said, you've turned into one of my best friends inside of basketball gaming and outside of it. So that's what basketball games can do for you. It really
that's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah,
we didn't talk about that, but that's crazy, man.
Yeah,
we get to know people. Like, I got friends now here in Brazil because of NBA Live BR, and they help me so much, even more than my old friends sometimes. This is crazy, man. And to get to know people from like you guys. Like last time I went to Florida, I almost got to meet Jeff Cortinas, Rock, because he lives in Florida, right? And we talked through the phone, and I almost went to his place so we could like meet, but I was with a group of guys, so I couldn't make my own schedule, and my time in Orlando was real like short, so we didn't get to meet, but almost happened. So this is crazy, man, because I remember watching those EA Sports parties and seeing everybody from the community like getting together and stuff. I was like, man, I want to be there one day. And when I start saving money to go to the last EA play, it didn't happen. There was no live. Like I was hoping for NBA Live 20 to be on a EA play, so I was saving money to go, and it didn't happen. So because I want to meet everybody, you know, I talk to a lot of people, and I want to meet people because people are great, man. It's just like because of video games, you get to meet so many great people.
It's a
awesome.
special bond, and you actually get to share that with a controller. Like you get to play against that person or play with that person or share like the gameplay and all of that stuff. My one of my best friends as well that I met through gaming is Andrew Begley from the NLSC.
Oh, okay.
And now we've done 46 or 47 podcast episodes together, you know, around 2 hours each. And we talk about basketball gaming for hours. And then, you know, before the show and after the show, we talk about life and stuff like that. And like I'm very grateful for the people that I've met over the years. And obviously, like I said, I met Rock, and he was on last week as well. And Rock is a great guy. I've met, you know, Ryan Parks and all of that stuff. And there's a lot of good people, and there's a lot of people that just want to have fun. They just want to have fun with the game. That's it. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. But perfect. I think that wraps up the episode. So thank you again for coming on to the show, and we'd definitely love to have you again sometimes. But that concludes Virtual Hoop Dreams episode 4, and thank you for tuning in.
Thank you guys for being here.